March 28th, 2009, Monster Jam World Finals 10, the championship race between Maximum Destruction and Captain's Curse. Alex Blackwell was aware of a situation that was going to put not only his life, but the life of the fans in the stands at risk. The crash of Captain's Curse. It's obviously one of the wildest crashes in Monster Jam history. It's a crash that has gone down in infamy as arguably the wildest crash of all time. This crash wouldn't have even been known if it happened maybe just a couple of years earlier. It happened in 2009 at a time where there really weren't that many people recording events. The only footage we have of it is from the fan footage from those people who were just happening to be recording that portion of the night. The video that popped up on YouTube just a few days afterwards is the one that made it really become popular. Not many people knew it even happened. If you weren't at the event, you wouldn't have known, because on TV, they cut it out. They edited it very, very sneakily so that you wouldn't know what had happened in the race. The only broadcast in which you know what happened is the UK version that they put out there, where they clearly show the crash. Scott Douglas talks about the crash, but doesn't really go much into detail. So this is a video where I'm going to really talk about what happened and why it happened, and for those of you who weren't there that night, what it was like, because I was there that day. I was there that day with my parents, and it was a crazy, crazy moment in my life. I was only 8 years old, but I still remember some of the little details about that night very well. Like, for starters, we didn't know what happened to Alex Blackwell. All we saw was the truck go into the stands, but he never got out of the truck. He was in that truck the entire time they took him out of the stands. He was in the truck the entire time they brought him to the back. We had no idea what happened. We didn't know if Alex Blackwell was even alive at that point. For all we knew, they could have been taking out his lifeless body into the pits. We also, all I remember was the chilling feeling of seeing the truck in the stands and Tom Meents just sitting there in front of the jump. Like, what do I do? He saw it happen. He stopped. He didn't know what to do with himself. He crossed the line and accepted his championship and did his speech and everything as if it never even happened. And the only time we heard of something was when they announced that Captain's Curse wasn't going to be competing in freestyle and that Alex Blackwell was okay. That was it. They didn't really say much of anything else. It was a really, really wild experience. And if you weren't there, man, it was just, it's hard to capture the craziness of that night. So what happened? Why did this happen? Well, it was pretty clear why it happened. Maybe not all of you know why this crash happened. It wasn't just a simple lost control of the truck. It wasn't simply misjudged the turn or was going too hard into the turn. No, it was negligence that led to this happening. Alex Blackwell came back from a semifinals race and realized, my brakes are toast right now. They were red hot, and he needed about 4 to 5 minutes to be able to cool them down just enough for him to have a safe race. He probably wouldn't have won the race no matter what, but he knew that he needed to sit for quite a few minutes in order for those brakes to cool down. They were so hot, and he knew that he had no brakes. But Monster Jam said, nope, we don't care. Go back out there, get to the line, and run your race. They did not give him enough time. They knew that the truck was too hot. They knew the brakes were too hot, but they still sent him to the line anyway, and that truck went to the line, it ran its race, and as Alex Blackwell's heading down that straightaway coming out of Thunder Alley, he's going 60 miles an hour. He hits the brakes, and he's still going 60 miles an hour, and he has a split-second decision to make that would end up saving his life and the life of all the people in the stands where he ended up flipping into. And that split-second decision was something that I've really paid attention to a lot over the years, as I've watched this crash so many times. Alex knew going into the race that he didn't have any brakes. He was well aware of it. He went down that straightaway praying that something would happen when he hit the brake pedal, but nothing happened at all. He hit the brake pedal and the truck just kept on going, and you're now going 60 miles an hour headfirst into a wall. If he hit that wall that hard, he might have lost his life or very, very seriously injured himself. So he knew that he had to do something. He decided to flip the truck over, but he also knew that doing that would probably send him right towards the stands. So he picked the perfect time to do it by hooking the tires right before the turn so that he would get close to clipping that little turning pod and that allowed him to kind of slow his momentum down a little bit, and he wouldn't go that far to the stands. He ended up landing pretty much right in the front row, right in the safety holds, which is exactly what they are there for. He didn't even really come close to hitting anybody. So Alex's great driving and presence of mind saved the lives of potentially multiple people in that situation, and is why it is not necessarily seen as the worst crash of all time. That could have been a crash that could have really hurt Monster Jam, but thankfully nothing really happened with it. While not many people got to see it on TV, we still have all pretty much gotten to see it on YouTube over the years with more different angles that have come out from it, but still one of the wildest moments of all time, and it's one that not many people probably knew the story of. So that's why I wanted to tell that story today, because it's a fascinating, fascinating story and one of the craziest moments in Monster Jam history. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.